All right, y'all. So this is gonna be a good one, but I need y'all to do me a favor. Make a promise to me. If you've never heard this story, I'm gonna need you to share it because I need everybody to hear this one. Okay. So I actually told this story once before, back when I first started doing these. So if you've been following for a while, you already know it. But back then, it was one of my first stories, and I'll be honest, I was still learning how to tell stories the right way. How to make people feel what really happened. But since then, I've learned so much more, and not just about history, but about how to bring it to life. So I wanted to come back and do this story again, because this one, it deserves to be told right. So if you've ever been to New Orleans, especially around Christmas time, then you know all about New Orleans' own Roosevelt Hotel. The lights, the decorations, the famous Christmas lobby. People come from all over every year just to take family pictures here. It's a tradition. It's one of those things that make you proud to be from this city. It's luxurious, it's beautiful, it's full of holiday magic, and it's memories. But what if I told you that this same location that shines bright every year with Christmas lights once ran red with blood? And not just any blood, the blood of our ancestors. So before the hotel stood here, this was the Mechanics Institute, a New Orleans building. And this was the site of one of the deadliest race massacres in Louisiana history. It happened right here in 1866, just 1 year after the Civil War ended. Slavery might have been over on paper, but freedom was still being fought for. Black folks were free, but they still couldn't vote, couldn't serve on juries, couldn't even walk freely without being harassed. The so called black codes were still keeping our people chained. So a group of mostly black men, many of them Union veterans, joined with some white Republicans to hold a convention right here at the Mechanics Institute. They were trying to rewrite Louisiana's constitution to make sure black men had the right to vote. It was peaceful, it was legal. They were doing it the right way, but New Orleans wasn't ready. On July 30th, 1866, as those delegates and supporters marched toward the building, waving flags and singing, standing tall, they were met by police, ex Confederates, and angry white mobs. The mayor at the time was John T. Monroe, a former Confederate sympathizer, and the chief of police was Harry T. Hayes, also a former Confederate general. Now, Harry was also the commander of one of the most famous Confederate brigades. They called themselves the Louisiana Tigers. And I'll let you use your imagination to figure out how that name still lives on today. Let's just say some traditions run deep in this state, even the ones built on blood. But back to the story. They opposed the convention, and what started as a march for freedom turned into an all out slaughter. Gunfire, smoke, screams, black men running for their lives, men shot in the street, stabbed, beaten, chased down even after they tried to surrender. Bodies laid right here on the same ground we walk on today. The city tried to call it a riot, but it wasn't a riot. It was a massacre, a race war. Officially, records say about 30 or so people were killed and more than 100 wounded, but witnesses say it was far more, maybe over 200. And every time I hear those numbers 30, 50, maybe 100, it always bothers me. Because think about it, that's a lot of families. Families that still receive no answers about what happened, only what ifs and maybes. Imagine your loved ones never coming home, and you never know why. Reports vary, but the pain is always the same. The fact that they don't even care to know the correct amount shows me that black lives didn't matter even back then. And that's why they tried to bury it. But that bloodshed, that tragedy, it changed things. News of the massacre spread across the country. It shocked the North and pushed Congress to act, to pass stronger Reconstruction laws to protect free people's rights. Out of tragedy came progress, but at a terrible cost. And there's more. Just a couple years later, downriver from New Orleans in St. Bernard Parish, another massacre happened in October 1868, the St. Bernard Parish Massacre, where armed white men attacked newly enfranchised black voters just days before a presidential election. That story echoes what happened here. Violence was used to suppress black rights. And yet, most people have no idea it ever happened. Most folks walk into this hotel every year dressed up and smiling, taking photos in front of Christmas trees, and they don't even know that beneath their feet is one of the most painful stories in Louisiana history. And that's why I had to tell it again, because, like my good friend always says, the victor writes the story, and every time they write it, they leave a piece of ours out. There's a little sign here that tells some of it, but one day that sign might not be here anymore. So when it's gone, I want this story to still be alive. I want you to remember. I want you to tell somebody else. Because this ground, it remembers. These walls, they remember. And now you do too. We're not only talking about pain, we're talking about the power that we get from that pain. Because no matter what they did, we still persevere. We're still here. So if this story was new to you, if you've learned something you never knew, please share it. Comment below, like and share, and subscribe for more stories that they'll never put in your textbook. Peace.